Mr. President! Don't move.
Man, fuck this game. It isn't even scary. How the fuck is it supposed to be scary with all this Kung Fu, Matrix, Max Payne bullshit everywhere, right? Right? Hello friends, your good buddy Justis here, and I'm going to talk to you about Resident Evil 6. First and foremost, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this is not a Resident Evil game. In fact, Resident Evil as you know it is dead. And like a zombie, it has come back to life as this abomination, twisted and sick evil thing. This isn't even survival horror anymore. It's sort of like this ammo conserving, quick, timey sort of action adventure game. I don't fucking know. It's not really horror. It's sort of horror like Doom was horror. It's sort of horror like Van Helsing was horror, like Twilight is horror. That's the level of horror you're gonna be expecting. The shocks are really cheap and it's not really that scary.
Gotta get through town.
Without getting killed.
It's not really survival because your teammate can help you back up whenever the fuck you want. Zombies are kicked around like toys. There'll be moments where you'll be playing with your friend, you're gonna see a zombie in the distance, and then your friend's gonna be like,
Head zombies this way. Ready, ready, ready?
You're sharing enemy kills. That's how not survival horror it is. It's nothing like the old Resident Evil, so there's like no puzzles either. Every destination, every puzzle, everything you need to do is indicated with a GPS marker that you can access at any time. It even has this sort of Dead Space style drawing on the ground, telling you exactly where to step. This is an M-rated game, right? But for some reason, the puzzles and the challenges are like made for children.
Can't they hear it?
So many. Let's go.
With that, I would like to take a moment to mourn the death of the Resident Evil franchise.
You were a good friend, Resi, but now your time has come to an end.
Okay, that was harsh. The game has some aspects of the old Resident Evil. Ammo's hard to find, you gotta mix herbs all the time, and the controls are awkward as fuck. It's got some cool shit like awesome co-op and a fun mercenaries mode, but I mean like it's got some really retarded platforming. Like it shouldn't even be called platforming. It should just be called pressing X. You're just pressing X. The game's got a lot of really cool callbacks to like classic action films and lots of other video games like Call of Duty. Really, it's not a survival horror title. You shouldn't buy this if you think it's that. Don't get me wrong, the game is fun, but it's not the type of fun you're expecting. The fun you'll get here is working with a friend to complete objectives. The fun you'll have here is like drop kicking a zombie in the nuts. The fun you'll have here is defeating huge monsters while, I don't know, riding a jet with dolphins. This is the sort of fun, this sort of silly, out of control set pieces, like these are where you have the most fun. The game's normal mode isn't very difficult. It's really hard to find bullets. That's about as hard as it gets, but then you can beat most monsters with melee anyway. If you're a fan of the old games, you'll be really underwhelmed because the game's been so over casualized and you're full of quick time events and you're full of all these like really simple platforming and puzzle solving. Like you'll feel dumb when you play it, but I mean like it's sort of the dumb fun. You got 3 campaigns in the beginning of the game. You got Leon's campaign, you got Chris's campaign, and you got Cole McGrath's campaign. There's also a 4th one, but that's a bonus thing, and I'm not going to talk about that. The campaigns are strung together pretty well. Like in terms of story, it's really clean. Works well in terms of gameplay. I'll also talk about that later. Story's also a little bit silly, but I mean that's expected. It's fucking Resident Evil. You weren't expecting fucking the constant gardener. And the graphics of the cinematics make me really, really jealous. And they also make me slightly uncomfortable because they make Shelly really attractive. And the first time I saw Shelly was when she was 5 years old, so is that weird? That's weird, right? The overarching plot is that there's some asshole called Neo... Fuck, I can't say this. There's some asshole called Neo Umbrella, and he wants to infect the world with this C virus. Basically, it's up to our heroes and heroines to save the world. All of the cinematics, they're all cheesy. They're well directed, the shots are nice, the graphics are good, but they're cheesy as hell. Even though the dialogue is pretty sloppy and has some major sphincter tighteningly awkward scenes.
What happened to the legendary Chris Redfield, huh? What happened to you?
It still works well. I don't know why. Probably, it works well. Capcom said that Leon's campaign will give you that sort of classic Resident Evil feel with the puzzle solving and the scares and from like the old games. They couldn't be more wrong. Leon's campaign is essentially the beginning of Resident Evil 5 with the lights turned off. The puzzles are no more, like I said earlier, they're no more than walking to point A, pressing X to pick up a statue, walking to point B and putting the statue there. His campaign's the worst one. His campaign fucking sucks. Chris's campaign is a bit more dynamic considering that he has a squad with him most of the time. He also got Pierce, and his relationship with Pierce is pretty interesting. Pierce is a marksman, so he can use this special sniper rifle. We've got long-range damage dealer and a tanky melee guy. It sort of makes the game more interesting because you have specific jobs that you have to do in a fight. Unlike in Leon's campaign, where you're both the same person and every zombie they just lunge at you like idiots, and you can basically just kick them all in the face without much strategy. Chris's one requires a little bit more teamwork and a little bit more synergy for you to play properly. Capcom said that this one will be the more action game sort of thing, but remember that this is also Resident Evil. It doesn't feel like a nice, fun gun shooting game because moving around is such a chore. Remember when you were playing Resident Evil 4 and you're like, oh my god, this is so scary because every monster does so much damage. At the same time, it's so fun because shooting him in the leg allows you to drop kick him in the face. Like in Chris's campaign, when you shoot a zombie in the head, he'll grow a second head. If you shoot him in the arm, he'll grow a second arm. It's like, what the fuck is the point in shooting him in the arm if he's just gonna grow the limb back? Like, it's not even fun to shoot him, it's just a pain in the ass. It's just like wasting bullets. In the end, you just have to keep punching him in the face. Guns are useless and it's just like a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess and it shouldn't be allowed. Jake's campaign is the most interesting one of the three. Also has the most problems. It's got all of the parts that make the game good. These parts where you get to separate from your partner and the gameplay is very different between the two characters. Vehicle sections, which are pretty fun. A bit clumsy, but they're pretty fun. And then you've also got these mini scenarios like finding these USB sticks in a snowstorm. Things like that. Like these things that break up the pace of the mindless shooting and the mindless walking forward that Chris and Leon's campaign has. I mean, it makes it the best campaign. Capcom said that Jake's portion will be like Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, which if you remember, had this big, hulking, crazy asshole chasing you throughout the game. He was like this sort of constant threat. And you'd always be like, I hope he doesn't fucking come out of this corner. I hope he doesn't come out of the closet. I hope he doesn't come out of all these places. With the Ustanak, which is Jake's version of Nemesis, you're not thinking, oh god, please don't attack me here. The game really gives you this area and it's like, oh, a big open space. I wonder who's gonna appear. And then he comes along. Yeah, okay, he appears once every chapter. He appears in either a set piece or a scenario or a linear area or a giant room. It's not a surprise and it's not thrilling either when he appears, especially with the dumbed down platforming. They have some points where you're running from the guy and you just run from him by holding X and holding down for 20 seconds. And that's supposed to be thrilling or exciting. Jake's campaign is also littered with quick time events, which I know most people hate. And when you succeed in pressing the quick time, there's this obnoxiously loud noise and this giant, your whole screen flashes, great job. And Jake's campaign is filled with it because the guy is superhuman. The melee controls are so awkward. So what do? They give you superhuman abilities during quick time events, which are everywhere. You've got at least 2 or maybe 3 bosses that you defeat with quick time events. There's just a whole segment of quick time events and then the boss dies. That's the most unsatisfying thing I could ever think of. It's not satisfying to press R1 once and then see a giant monster fall to his knees and like explode. Unfortunately, Jake's campaign is filled with this shit and it's just terrible. It's nobody wants this. Who said this was a good idea? Nobody fucking knows. Once you get over the awkward controls and the funny shoot dodge mechanics and the really lame story, the game's kind of fun. The game alone, it's sort of like this meh romp through fucking Switzerland or China or whatever the fuck. You're just shooting monsters and you're shooting things. By yourself, that's how much fun you're gonna be having, which is not a lot. But if you get a friend and you choose a difficulty level that's right for you, where monsters are a challenge, zombies aren't so useless and they sort of scare you a little bit, okay, the game is fun. You also got some scenes that put you in the hands of your teammate. Your friend has to basically carry you or help you out of a certain situation. These sort of things make for some really intense moments. These are the things that are fun. These are the things that make Resident Evil great. It's the co-op and the sort of the stories that you'll have afterwards. It's an issue when you're playing by yourself because that means it's a computer and the computer can do all of that relatively competently. You're trying to climb across a platform as Chris and Pierce, controlled by a computer, providing covering fire. Obviously, Capcom is going to design the AI so that the computer doesn't fail, because how lame would that be? Your computer partner messes up his job. It just completely removes the tension. And it removes the fun. It removes the achievement, feeling that you've done something good or something skillful. Instead, a computer has done all the work for you. You can actually customize your characters with Resident Evil 6's new skill system, where you have to grind skill points to really get the skills that you want. Some of the best skills are the ones that sacrifice one for one. So it's like, one is you get more damage, but the bad thing is you take more damage. It means everything is much more exciting that way. Unfortunately, it's really grindy and you have to play a lot to unlock it. What's good is that the points you get for mercenary mode are the same points you get to use for the campaign mode. So it's not as much grinding as it could have been, but it's still grinding. Regarding the shoot, dodging, Max Payne Kung Fu bullshit I referenced earlier, it also works to the game's advantage sometimes. You're not just fighting zombies anymore. You're fighting giant monsters, you're fighting a chainsaw-wielding monster, you're fighting a guy with a giant hook arm. You're fighting all sorts of weird, crazy things and you're trying to dodge shit all the time. So I mean, the shoot dodge makes you feel cool when you do it because you look like a total badass, obviously. My complaint earlier about it was that it was not scary, because it does remove the scare factor, but you do look like a hardcore badass. Overall, it's just a fun experience. It's not a horror experience, but it's still fun and it still feels nice. You get to do things like dogfight jet planes, you get to ride motorcycles, you get to play Metal Gear, and you get to ride bumper cars. Like it mixes up the pacing, gives you a lot of variation, and it has a way of not making you so bored. They're sort of tacked on and it's sort of sloppy. It's fun. When you get into the mood of the whole Resident Evil thing, the whole silly action-adventure mood, it's quite satisfying. But at the same time, if you're not enjoying the action-adventure-y parts, you're gonna hate these vehicle sections and you're gonna hate these sort of like distractions, if you will. Like the stealth bits, the vehicle bits, the on-the-rails parts. Capcom also decided to include this 3 to 4 player co-op. All the stories take place together, sort of at the same time. And the characters' storylines interweave with each other. You'll bump into 2 other players playing another campaign at the same time, and you get to work with them to play online. It makes for some really interesting situations. Like sometimes you'll get to team up with another player's partner. Like this one time I was playing as Leon and I got stuck with Shelly, and I could not communicate with Shelly in any way. But I just had to trust that this player, Shelly, was good enough to take us through the fight. Teaming up with other players is relatively seamless. The only issue with playing with other players is that there's this really big and obnoxious PSN or Xbox Live logo on top of their heads. Luckily, you can turn that off, which I have in the gameplay footage. There's also 2 other modes in this game. One is called Mercenaries, which is sort of this survival arcade mode hybrid sort of weird thing.
And there's also Agent Hunt, which is sort of like versus mode in Left 4 Dead, if you remember playing that. Agent Hunt basically puts you in the shoes of either zombies or monsters in other players' campaigns. A player has to put on Agent Hunt, like he has to activate it on his campaign. And only players who have a firm grasp and understanding of the game, or only players with really big balls, want to put Agent Hunt on. That means it's so fucking difficult to play Agent Hunt because Resident Evil controls are already fucking difficult. You want to make it worse by controlling a zombie? It's so difficult to control and you have to relearn skills. And not only that, but you're also fighting against players who already have a firm grasp of the game. I guess it's satisfying sometimes when you hit a player with your grab attack and you're like chewing on them and their teammate sucks and doesn't know what to do. Yeah, that's fun, I guess, but at the same time, it's also shit. There's just something magical about Capcom's empty framework. I mean, the thing runs fucking Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom. You know, they play this game online, and like, to play Street Fighter, you gotta be frame perfect sometimes. This game handles lag really, really well. You're not gonna get rubber banding. You're not gonna get teleporting players. You're not gonna get any weird shit like that because this fucking engine, I don't know what the fuck they do to it, but for some reason it just works. We live in the Philippines. Our internet fucking sucks. I'm playing with players from Japan and my ping to Japanese players is usually 300. For some reason, the online works so well. It doesn't work so well for Agent Hunt because you have to use a grapple mechanic, but it works well for the guns, the co-op campaign, and the mercenaries. It works fine. It's a miracle of gaming. The split screen works well. The multiplayer works well. These are the things that work the best, and these are what makes the game really strong. It's the multiplayer, it's the co-op, it's the teamwork. The teamwork is what really binds Resident Evil 6 together, and playing it alone fucking sucks. In fact, I think the game actually runs better and looks better in split screen. Whatever, that's just my opinion.
Hey boys and girls, Zombie Boss Pants here, and I've got some things to say about Resident Evil 6 too. When I was a kid, I was a gigantic Resident Evil fan. I remember my best friend and I set up my room with two TVs, one with a GameCube and one with a PS1 and 2. So we could play every single Resident Evil game that had ever existed. That's how much of a fan I was. To be fair, Resident Evil 6 has some good intentions. The cinematics actually have some impressive cinematography. I imagine when Capcom started thinking of this game, some guy was like, I think it should be like Resident Evil 4. And some other guy was like, no, let's run with Resident Evil 5 and just make it a full-on military shooter. And there was some guy at the back who was like, hey, has anybody seen Uncharted? And all of them sort of got what they wanted. And the way that these storylines intertwine and the asynchronous co-op things, they're really cool. I'd like to see these ideas done better in another game. But okay, let me explain to you the real reason why I think Resident Evil 6 is so fucking offensive. Whenever I go to the hospital, for whatever reason, there's only one place for me to eat if I get hungry. The food in this hospital restaurant is bland, the service sucks, food takes forever to get to you, and when it does, it's cold. Thing is, this restaurant is always full because there's nowhere else to eat in the area. So the owner of this restaurant is rolling in the Benjamins, and there's no reason to train his staff any better because he's already making as much money as he can. We're already seeing this kind of thing happening in Hollywood. 90% of the movies that come out are remakes, reboots, reimaginings, adaptations, sequels, or based on a true story. It's not because people don't have any creativity, it's because studios have discovered that big names sell more than good movies. Resident Evil 6 sold like fucking hotcakes, and it's not good enough. It had good intentions, yeah, but the story feels like a 3D B movie. And even though the action mechanics are passable, they're not viscerally satisfying in any sense of the word. The camera programming is fucking terrible. Who programmed the real-time camera in this game? Why wasn't it the guy who did the cutscenes? But the thing is, critics warned you it would be bad. When Resident Evil 6 first came out, it was a 67 on Metacritic. It's even lower now. But there were still a bunch of guys waiting outside my local game store ready to buy the special edition. Why? Now see, I was just like them. I was just like them. I was a Resident Evil fan. I was also a Silent Hill fan, and a Final Fantasy fan, and a Super Mario Brothers fan. But none of these franchises seem to care about doing what originally made them great. All they have to do is just release another iteration every couple of years, or in the case of Resident Evil, 3 a year. So what kind of message does this success send to Capcom? Why the hell should Capcom bother making a good Resident Evil game when a game that just has the title Resident Evil sells equally as well? And that is why Resident Evil 6 fucking offends me. It's not because it's different. It's not because it's mediocre. It's not because it has these little problems. It's because it's sold.
Oh yeah, overall conclusion of the game. Yeah, it's very okay. Resident Evil 6 is very okay. Okay is the very average as possible. It is the most average game.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's got some parts that make it awesome, but it's got a lot of parts that make it
It's
shit.
counterweight. It's like a scale. There's like, oh, here's some awesome set pieces and some nice
here's
graphics.
some bullshit.
And here's some fucking terrible controls and quick time events. Oh dear.
Yeah. So I mean, but it balances out to an absolute perfect, an absolute mediocre.
Yeah.
I mean, a mediocre in a good way, and a mediocre is very.
Yeah, because it's not good enough to say it's good, but then it's not bad enough to laugh at it.
Yeah. It's not bad enough to say don't play it. I mean, it's still fun.
Definitely don't buy it new.
Yeah, don't buy it new or don't buy it yet. Buy it later.
Yeah.
Buy it like when a Game of the Year edition comes out. Buy it when there's already PlayStation 3 classics on the PlayStation 5. Like, no, that's too harsh.
Yeah.
But buy it quickly.
Yeah. It's
Save your money.
yeah. If you're a Resident Evil fan, you're not missing much by missing out on this because it's not really a Resident Evil game. This is real vodka, you know that?
It's not. I didn't drink that much yet.
Yeah.
Yet. Yes, that's it for Resident
Any new high scores?
Oh,
Justis?
that's right. New high score. This one gets. I forgot what I said earlier in the other take.
Best. You said controversially. This is not my opinion.
Oh, that's right.
You
Yeah.
said it.
I think this is the best co-op experience of the year because it's the best. I think the team play is so important, particularly in the higher difficulty levels. Not on Leon's campaign, on everyone else's campaign except for Leon's and the special campaign. I think it's the best co-op title because it really requires teamwork, especially when you play a difficulty level that's good for you. It's challenging enough. You have to rely on your teammates. Sometimes you literally have your teammates' life in your hands, and those kind of situations made it interesting. It's not like what would you
Well, the thing is that the people who are going to get maddest for you for that is the Borderlands 2 fans.
Yeah, I do play it. I have played it co-op, but I mean the engagement and the teamwork required for Borderlands 2. I mean, you can be two dudes and you can just mind your own fucking business in a gunfight and come out alive. The simple difference is that in Resident Evil 6, if your partner dies, you lose. In Borderlands, if your partner dies, he has to spend more money. You don't.
True, yeah.
So I mean,
Okay.
that's
Fair
plain simple difference is I think what makes the co-op in this game. Gameplay wise, yeah, okay, it might not be as fun or as tight as Borderlands, but I'm talking co-op specifically. Co-op specifically, this is the most like best,
Ignoring gameplay.
Yeah, best teamwork, best things like that. It really requires you to be good, have good synergy with your friends.
In other words, you wish they did something like that in another game.
Yeah.
I think it gets a new high score for me for most ambitious game of the past few months because the whole asynchronous co-op thing and the whole 4 different campaigns on one disc is pretty ambitious. Agent Hunt. I wish they did the Dark Souls thing where you can't choose to turn it off.
Oh, and you can't tell if it's a player or a zombie.
If it's just that would have been much better.
That would have been much better.
But again, good ideas, really ambitious. I just wish that the foundation of the game was better and that they kept to what made Resident Evil great in the first place.
Yeah, that's right. Which is horror
and survival, not helicopter chase scenes. No, it's not helicopter. It's Resident Evil gameplay.
So, question of the day. What's your favorite Resident Evil game? What's yours?
4.
Mine's 4 as well, closely followed by 2. Did you like Resident Evil 6? Did you hate Resident Evil 6? Do you hate the fact that we even exist? Let the world know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel in the corner over there. You'll notice a little lightsaber at the bottom of the video. Make sure it stays green. Do not turn over to the dark side. I'm Boss Pants.
I'm Justis.
And we'll see you next time on New High Score. Yeah!